my God. Welcome to Smash Writing. We are in a good streak, a starting good streak of just horrible movies to talk about. Thanks to this man.
Not my fault.
It is your fault.
I want video game movies to be good too. We don't have many of them, but
I will accept okay films.
Well, we don't have a lot of them in the video game category.
You make me watch bad films back to back, and then you want to make fun of me when I pick out a bad movie every once in a while.
I'm at least staying on theme. You pick random bad ones.
Your theme is random bad movies in a row. Today,
we got the sequel next January. I could pick a better one, but you keep trash talking. We're doing Alone in the Dark too.
Today we are reviewing the not so hit film Alone.
And Alone in the Dark 2 might be better.
You can't get any worse.
It's not directed by Uwe Boll.
Okay, guys, today we are reviewing Alone in the Dark.
Now, at what point did you think Alone in the Dark was going to be bad? When you saw the word Alone in the Dark, or did you see the word Uwe Boll?
I think, okay, so we are reviewing Alone in the Dark. Let's get that started. When did and I think you guys already realized we're giving this a bad review. We'll give our exact grades at the end of the video, but we're giving a bad review.
Spoiler review, this isn't very good.
And us just bashing this film.
If he wants to box anyone, you're going to Germany.
When did I think it was bad? Probably during the opening scroll. Because I'm listening to it, and all I could be thinking of was, huh? What? I think I restarted the film after the scroll so I can hear the scroll again to make sure I realize that I'm saying how bad it is. Try to give us the plot.
Try to give us the plot. Okay. As you pointed out, this started with a scroll. And there's the first remnants of an ancient city known as Afghani. They believed in two worlds, one of light, one of dark, and 10,000 years ago they opened a door. And something evil slipped out before they can close it, and the Afghani vanished. The Borough 713 was set up, a paranormal research agency, to uncover the secrets of the Afghani. It was run by Lionel Hudgens. He was thrown out for doing weird stuff, but his experiments continued on orphans. And it was merging man with creature, awaiting to be called. 22 years later, we get a nun arguing with Hudgens about the safety of the children. And at 10 p.m., it's going to be done, and at 10 p.m., she's told to call the kids in missing. And one of them escapes, a young Edward Carnby, who kind of sees a creature somewhat in his eyeball. You see reflecting. But we jump to the day where an adult, Edward Carnby, is scaring a child on an airplane, telling him he needs to be afraid of the dark. I'm going to do that to your kid.
I'm sure you will be. And you're probably going to torture her by making her watch these bad movies.
Yes, I will.
I know you will.
Gonna get her the Uwe Boll collection. $3 online. This is where things start going south, because we start getting fast edits between scenes. So we jump from him on getting off the plane to a fishing boat with Hudgens ordering a hit on Carnby to get the artifact he has. We jump back to Carnby, who's in a cab being followed by another cab that attacks them, and a big fight breaks out. I will say this, I think they have a really cool camera shot in this fight. When Carnby has the gun he stole out the cup, and he shoots the two bullets, and the one goes through the block of ice, and the other one hits the guy and keeps going. I really like that camera shot. Like going down the barrel, seeing the bullet come out, the next bullet chamber, and then follow suit. And I really like that camera angle.
All right, that makes it from an incomplete to an F.
But anyway, this fight goes on for a little while because nothing he's doing is putting this guy down until he kicks him off and he gets impaled on all these spike things. During the car chase, Kirby's like, my insurance isn't going to cover this. And it's, why wouldn't they cover this? You didn't start this fight here. Anyway.
Jesus. I can't take this movie. The fact that somebody in this world thought, even if the direct-to-DVD film, that this film deserved a sequel.
Anyway, we meet Cedric after this. And she's marched to the museum. She's accepting a package, and she gets yelled at.
You're expecting me to believe that Tara Reid, of all people, is this like smart person.
She is shark killer. Mm-hmm. She fights sharks and is a robot.
Yeah. That is her career.
Yeah, I'll say she's made a hell of it, you know. She keeps going.
I didn't even like her in American Pie.
I don't remember those movies.
You don't want to remember those movies.
I was 12 when I watched those movies.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
Yes.
Her boyfriend's been missing for 3 months since Carnby. Carnby's been out. But it's funny, Carnby gets home. He's gone for 3 months. He has one message. It's from his buddy John from the orphanage. He's having nightmares again. He wants him to call him. Meanwhile, back on the boat.
My boyfriend's gone missing for 3 months and I don't even call him.
Well, we'll get to that in a moment. So, we go back to the boat. Now, I skipped it out on it because I got tired of continuing talking. This is the third time we cut back to this boat. Because they keep cutting between scenes. So, Hudgens is on this boat. They fish up a gold crate that is backstabbed by the crew and forced into a cabin. And they open the chest and lets out the evil that wipes out everyone on the boat, and it sends out a psychic signal to all of the sleepers. And Carnby gets knocked out. He is in the middle of investigating his artifact he found. He gets knocked out. But people like John and the rest of them all kind of like hypnotic slaves. They just drop whatever they're doing and they walk off into the night. Hudgens comes out once it's safe and he collects a piece of artifact from the gold crate and runs off. And we go back to 713. We meet Burke, who's being told the paranormal activity level is off charts all over the place. And he doesn't really know what's going on either. Carnby's woken up the next morning by John's wife, who is freaking out because John was missing. He promised her, sir, that he will go find her. Which did not have to be a scene. He could have just said that on the phone.
This movie didn't need to be made.
This was like an hour and 20 minutes, and you could have cut off 20 minutes of this movie. It would have been like an hour movie.
You could have cut the film off after the scroll.
But we learned a little bit more through narration that there were some people 10,000 years ago that survived.
Of course there are.
Because they had sided with the monsters. And they were given supernatural powers, and that's what he thinks is going on right now. He returns to the orphanage hoping to get any information on the rest of the kids that was with him. And then he finds out that all of them are missing too. And then that is when he goes to see Cedric, who slaps him in the face, demanding, he's like, you didn't call me or talk to me? How could he have called you in the middle of the rainforest? This was 2000-something. The cell phone reception in the rainforest is probably not that great.
We're in 2024, and the reception in the rainforest is probably not great.
You're dating a guy who goes out to look for artifacts. Sometimes he's not around. And you are losing your mind like this is the first time that this happened. But according to John on the answering machine, this happens all the time. This is not new. Whatever. Anyway,
I would expect nothing less than that from any Tara Reid character. Facts. Felt like I was high watching this movie.
They found 4 pieces of Connie, including his bit. They're scattered across like they were on the edge of the earth, kind of deal. And she's like, well, why would you hide a puzzle like this if you didn't want anyone to put it together? Well, maybe because they didn't want you to put it together.
Duh.
And that would be the next logical clue here, is that they didn't want it put together. Anyway, they're attacked by the monsters. called Xenos. This should go for a second before. I've never actually played Alone in the Dark. I have no idea how close to the game this actually is.
Okay, if this movie's anything like the game, these games suck. And you can leave comments, and fans of the game can say, no, it's even we don't like the movie, that's fine. But I'm just saying, if this was like the game, if this is like, if there's fanboys out there going, oh my god, yeah, this film was like spot on with the game, get a life.
Anyway, monsters attacked are called Xenos. Burke and the rest of the crew show up and they all help fight off the monsters. And Burke does not like Carnby, and they kind of butt heads a bit. That he did that mostly so Carnby did that so he can steal his passport to go talk to Fisher, and who's doing the autopsy on the guy from the beginning of the movie. His name is Pinkerton, and he's been missing in action for 20 years. He's a former 713 investigator, and there's like this giant worm in him. And turns out Carnby has one in him too that was taken out because when he was a kid he was electrocuted and that fried out the creature inside of him.
Oh my god.
And that's kind of why he was affected by the psychic wave coming out of the box, but didn't transform. Yeah, this is anyway.
The longer this movie goes on, the deeper it just like makes no damn sense.
Yeah, but Fisher gives him these light bullets that shoot out light. And it explains that they short out electricity when they're around. So if electricity starts going haywire, there's one around. Later that night, Fisher is infected by Hudgens, by one of the worm things. And at the house, I believe it was the house, Carnby and Cedric are attacked by not just waves of monsters, but by zombified, mind-controlled adult orphans, we'll call them. Burke shows up, they butt heads again, but after Carnby rescues Burke, that kind of wins favor back toward him, and they head off to a gold mine where all of the monsters are heading toward. Burke, Cedric, Carnby, and 3 others go down into the mine to try to find out why the monsters are coming, leaving Miles up with the rest of the army to hold the line, which they fail to do.
And there's a lot of failing in this movie.
Yes. But down in the mine, don't worry. They brought 6, but 3 of them are only there to be eliminated right away. And they find out that 713 was created by Hudgens and Pinkerton as a way to awaken the darkness of the Abkhani, not fight it off. There's a door. They're tempted to open it, but decide it better not to open it. But Hudgens arrives and insists that they open the door. Burke takes him out, but it's too late. The door has been opened. They blow it up, and Carnby and Cedric manage to escape, but Burke is shown to have survived the blast for some reason. But when they make it up to the surface, everyone is gone. Everyone in the city is barren. And that is Alone in the Dark.
This movie wants me to be alone in the dark and mope about how I wasted 90 minutes of my life on this film.
Okay. There are 2 positives in this movie.
How are there 2 positives?
One of them, I really like that shot.
Okay, fine, I'll give you that.
And I think Christian Slater and Stephen Dorff are overacting to the point of brilliance. They are trying so hard for a movie that does not deserve it.
I have to say when they probably got the script and they were like, what? Just give me my paycheck. How can I get my paycheck? And they were like, if I'm going to be working on this film for 3 to 6 months of my life, whatever, I might as well just be so bad that I'm going to have fun with it. You cannot tell me that it was not going through their heads. Because just, when I said, the opening scroll I was like, What? What the hell are we talking about?
This movie is atrocious. I mean, like Chris Slater and Dorff are really good, and Tara Reid is fair.
Yeah,
She could not underperform more.
she must have thought this was a real movie.
We talked about Resident Evil. You mentioned Resident Evil 2. You didn't like the CG. Like, it's masterstrokes compared to this, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's like every time you always want to say it can't get any worse, and then you spew this crap on me, and it gets worse. Oh my god.
I don't think this is the worst movie ever made. Like, a lot of people make it like this is the worst movie ever for some people. It's not that. You know, this is not Wishmaster 3 or 4. This is not The Requiem. This is not The Flash. I'd rather watch this than The Flash movie again.
Ooh. Ooh.
Because The Flash movie only has 20 minutes of good.
That's just glorified cameos.
No, because I like Sasha, Supergirl.
But was that not a glorified cameo?
Well, no, because she had a bigger role. The
Barely.
Nick Cage and all of them were cameos.
You love that Nick Cage cameo.
Nick Cage didn't like that cameo.
F. I'm giving it an F.
Yeah,
I
too.
don't-
Like, we're sitting here like there's just generally not anything to talk about. This movie was bad.
Here's the thing,
editing is weird.
The story arc was just so off. Like I said, the scroll alone. As soon as I said, huh. Now, I'll be honest with you. Like, when you said Alone in the Dark and I went up, I didn't look at the reviews or anything. I actually thought it was just a horror movie. I'm like, why are you? I'm like, he wants to do video games, but what's Alone in the Dark? And then as I'm watching it, I'm looking up stuff about it, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, okay, this is the point where I actually wrote it down. The editing for this movie. The cuts.
What editing?
Well, did you see some of those cuts?
Yeah, I mean,
Remember the gunfight?
I would not call that editing.
The gunfight in the dark. That was terrible. But you got the one point here, right? Like, he goes home and goes to sleep. They then cut to Fisher, who's being collected by one of the pluggies that Burke wants to talk about. Then you go back to Carnaby for Cedric to show up, and she's looking for things glancing at him in the bed. Then you jump back to Fisher, who's being yelled at by Burke for not telling him what's going on with Carnaby. You can clean this shit up. Just have her at the house already. Just have fucking Burke go talk to Fisher. There's so many wasted steps here. Even at the beginning, you got Carnaby on the plane, you cut to the boat, you cut back to Carnaby, you cut back to the boat, you cut somewhere else.
Okay,
Then you
this
go
film-
back to the boat. Make up your goddamn mind. You don't need all
This
these
film
cuts.
probably was made by a lot of people who failed out of film school.
Well, you tell that to U-Boy, he'll box you.
Well, this movie being a complete failure is all I need to.
I long for House of the Dead right now. At least I had fun with those characters.
This is just wasting me and my daughter's time. This would be I'm not gonna lie, this would be an incomplete film if it was not for my daughter playing in the game room as I was watching this film. I would have turned, like, if I didn't have a daughter this year and we were doing this, I would literally sit here and go, Justin, it's an incomplete. I couldn't even finish it. And he hates when I give films incomplete, but I'm giving films incomplete when
We only get one incomplete a year. You already used yours.
Well, it's 2024 now, so I get one back. And unfortunately, I feel like this is just the beginning of the year, so yeah. But no, I watched it, and I'm just like, let it end. Like, I just wanted to turn it off every second that I could. I'm like, why? F.
Yeah, not great. F.
Don't go and watch it.
As always, bye-bye.